这个谁几斤啊？我。
挑到翻了你。
这是对人路。
啊，那个我给他挑。
战地记者来了。
Henan, located in central China, is known for its cultural heritage and agricultural richness. What makes flooding in Henan particularly devastating is the region's geography and infrastructure. The province is intersected by several major rivers, including the notorious Yellow River. These waterways bring life to farmland, but also pose serious threats when rainfall intensifies. Over time, heavier and less predictable rainstorms have begun to overwhelm aging infrastructure, exposing communities to extreme risks. Urban areas in Henan have grown rapidly. Cities that were once smaller and easier to manage are now packed with people, high-rise buildings, and underground systems like subways. Water collects in low-lying streets, floods basements, and sometimes pours into subway tunnels. In minutes, a busy business district can turn into a submerged maze. The problem isn't just the amount of rain, it's where the water goes. Natural landscapes that once absorbed excess rainfall have been replaced with concrete, buildings, and paved roads. Wetlands, forests, and rural fields that once acted as buffers are now largely gone. Without those natural protections, water flows faster, hits harder, and leaves more destruction in its path. In cities, the immediate effects are dramatic. Streets turn into rivers, vehicles float and flip, electricity is cut. Entire districts become inaccessible. People trapped in vehicles, basements, or subways are left waiting for help that can take hours to arrive. The relentless downpours triggered red-level alerts, landslides, infrastructure failure, and mass evacuations, marking one of the worst summer flood episodes in recent years. In Hebei province, the worst-hit areas included Baoding and Fuping County, where rainfall exceeded historical records. Emergency teams work around the clock, often using inflatable boats, rescue lines, and helicopters to reach stranded civilians. But outside the cities, the damage is just as severe. In Henan's rural areas, flooding washes away crops just before harvest. For families who rely on farming, this isn't just a lost season. It's lost income, lost food, and often lost hope. Floodwaters destroy grain storage, drown livestock, and collapse village homes. On July 26th, local weather stations in Fubik recorded an hourly rate of 145 Miller, with over 540 Miller falling in just 8 hours, more than the annual average. Torrents of water destroyed roads, homes, and fields, cutting off entire villages and forcing over 4,600 residents to evacuate. Officials confirmed 2 deaths and 2 missing persons as of July 27th.
天哪，妈哟！那看呀，看呀，上去。看到了。
Landslides and flash floods complicated rescue efforts as saturated hillsides gave way. Meanwhile, in Beijing, the rural and mountainous Miyun district suffered serious impacts.
This year, 光干活了，也没工夫上海边儿。大海上人家看我。
Vanish in a matter of hours. School children lose textbooks and classrooms. Small business owners return to shops filled with mud and wreckage. Even after the water recedes, the journey back to normal life is long and uncertain. China has made large-scale investments in dams, levees, and floodgates across the country. Prompting emergency discharge operations to protect the dam's integrity. These trade-offs are never easy. Authorities must weigh public safety, economic loss, and long-term risk. And still, every year, floods catch people off guard. Warning of geological disasters, including landslides and mudslides. Heavy rain was forecast to continue into July 28th, with up to 100 mm expected within 6 hours in Huairu, Pinggu, and Yanqing. Authorities urged residents in mountainous areas to remain vigilant and prepare for emergency evacuation. Rescue teams were mobilized using helicopters, drones, and satellite phones to coordinate relief in cutoff zones. There's always a sense of unity. Volunteers distribute food and supplies. Temporary shelters are set up in schools and public buildings. Rescue stories emerge. Strangers helping strangers. People risking their lives to save others. In Henan, like many parts of China, nationally, the Ministry of Water Resources issued flood warnings across 11 provinces as dozens of rivers breached warning levels. Flood diversion zones, rural lowlands designated for overflow, were activated in Hebei, sacrificing farmland and homes to protect cities. While such measures prevented larger urban disasters, they also triggered renewed concern over the impact on rural communities. And long-term agricultural loss. Beijing's Meteorological Bureau issued red alerts for 10 of the city's 16 districts, with geological disaster warnings covering much of the rural and mountainous northern regions. Disaster brings out the very best in community spirit. Over time, the calls for better flood planning have grown louder. Experts now urge a shift towards smarter urban design and nature-based solutions. That means rebuilding wetlands, planting trees, and allowing rivers more room to breathe. It also means designing cities that are flood resilient, with better drainage, flood zones, and public awareness. People are becoming more prepared, too. Emergency kits, flood drills, and evacuation plans are more common than before. Authorities warned that continued rainfall could bring over 100 millimeters in just 6 hours in districts like Wairu, Pinggu, and Yanqing. Citywide, residents were urged to avoid low-lying areas and report landslide signs. Fortunately, no deaths were reported within Beijing city limits as of July 27th, though damage to infrastructure and homes was widespread. Local leaders now know that preparing for the worst is not panic, it's responsibility. Flooding in Henan is a powerful reminder that nature doesn't wait for us to be ready. As the climate shifts and cities grow, the challenge becomes greater. But with knowledge, planning, and community strength, it's possible to reduce the damage and recover faster.
看得出原来这边有一条河吗？
呀，你在尖叫啊？真老鼠。
Thank you for watching. If this video helped you understand the challenges faced by regions like Henan, please share it. Let's keep the conversation going. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss our next story. Stay safe, stay informed, and take care.